According to Pew Research, the number of Americans who consider themselves Christian dropped approximately 8% in 7 years. That means 71% identify themselves as Christians. 23% consider themselves religiously unaffiliated. Pew says while the drop in Christian affiliation is particularly pronounced among young adults, it is occurring among Americans of all ages and ethnic backgrounds. So let's talk about how that may play into the 2016 presidential election and more with David Carroll. He's a University of Maryland political science professor. He also co-wrote an influential book on the primary process called Party Decides. Welcome, David. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to bring in Dana Bash as well so she can add her 2 cents. But I want to ask you, David, how will religion play into the Republican primary this time around?
Well, I think all of the Republican candidates will support what we call socially conservative positions on issues like abortion and same-sex marriage. So the base of the Republican Party hasn't changed that much. The demographic, the change that you're reporting from that poll doesn't really alter their calculus for 2016.
Should it, though?
No, I don't think it necessarily should. I mean, this is a lot of people. I think what's actually happened is a lot of people who were sort of nominally religious before are now feeling maybe it's okay to identify as non-religious or as secular, and the younger people among whom this is especially common are less likely to vote. Actually, people under 30 are turn out at lower rates. So I don't think we expect the Republican candidates to start to say, well, I'm not a Christian either. I mean.
No, I don't think so. And of course, Jeb Bush would totally agree with you because he just spoke at Liberty University to polish his religious credentials. But Nate Silver rates that Bush is the least conservative of the Republican field. He's on par with his father. So, Dana, if that's true, will it help? Will it hurt?
It kind of depends on how he continues to frame himself and how he's perceived in that vein by Republican primary voters. You're right, he spoke to Liberty University in Virginia, a classic evangelical university run, or at least founded by Jerry Falwell. It is a place where the Bush family have gone, and he noted that in his speech. So it is certainly kind of a rite of passage, if you will, for a lot of Republicans, especially for Bush. But I do think just being out on the campaign trail and listening to whether it's Jeb Bush or Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz, they talk about their faith very openly, very aggressively. And in the case of those, and Mike Huckabee, of course, who's a pastor, it's authentic. They genuinely do, from what I understand behind the scenes, have a strong faith, and they are able to talk about it in a way that does connect with voters, because I think that the professor is right, that when it comes to the people who matter to them politically, that is absolutely key. The people who are dropping off and saying that they're not as they don't feel as Christian are probably a lot less likely to vote, especially in a Republican primary, go to Republican caucus.